Hello, everybody who's out there. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Jeremy Ems, and I'm going to do a bit of a session today on how to customize PIM to suit the way that you work. A couple of things here. As I go through this, if you want to ask any questions, please use the chat function. Nikki, who heads up our support team, will be monitoring that, so she'll be able to get back to you straight away. And if not, we'll send you an email later. But we are recording this session, so it will be made available to you later on. I can see quite a few people just joining now, so I'll give it a couple of seconds before I launch into everything else. I can even see a photo. Oh, I can see a video there. G'day, how are you? Nice to see you. So if I can see some faces, then I can see some smiles or otherwise. So that's a really good thing. But okay, so yeah, I can see more faces coming in here. G'day, wherever you are. I hope you're staying safe. If you're in Victoria and Melbourne in particular, you've got newfound freedom, which is a good thing. Okay, so g'day to everybody who's over there. All right, I'm going to start off with this session today, which is going to hone in on what you can do to customize PIM to suit the way that you work. And one of the things that we do push at Property Inspection Manager is that it's the most customizable app available to help you do your reports the way that you want to. And I've definitely seen over the last few years more and more people coming to us saying, how do we make our inspections look different? How do we make our inspections consistent across the team? So what I'm going to do is focus in on three things today. When I talk about customization, I really think it's about three things. It's about what information you capture when you're doing your inspections, whether it's a routine inspection, whether it's a property condition report for entry or exit, or whether it's just an ad hoc inspection, and we're seeing a few people doing those as well. How you capture that information, and you can capture that information obviously with the written word, you can capture that information with photos, you can capture that information using the quick check labels, but also then how you present that information to the person that's going to be looking at the report and communicating with them. So I'm going to do this the reverse way around just for a second. I'm going to share my screen, and my screen I'm just going to bring up how do we present your reports to the end user. So 2 seconds while I share my screen. Desktop, share, okay, onto here. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. If you just give me a thumbs up, it should have gone into onto the web page. Yeah, can you see that? And you can see all the different reports there. Great, okay. So with PIM, obviously we set up our templates for you with your logos and with your addresses, and we set those up for your routine, and there is the property condition reports for your state. If you ever want to change the format of those reports, get in touch with us at support@propertyinspectionmanager.com, and we can help change them for you. So we do have a reports gallery on our website, which is the propertyinspectionmanager.com/reports, and you can look on there at the different styles that we have. So the different styles that we have may include a cover page, and that cover page can include a photo, and it may just have a small photo to evidence that you've been to the property when you've done your inspection. And we can also incorporate photos of staff members. So if you want to actually customize your reports so it really pushes, we are different because I'm looking after your property and managing your asset, that can be done. The other thing that we can do, and I'm just going to go into my routine inspection here and view it in slightly larger format, just so it makes sense when I go through the settings, is the format on the front page can be tailored. So it can be tailored, and our standard is maintenance required, suggested improvements, and our summary. But if you want to add additional areas to the front page of your inspection report, or if you want to add a cover page to your property condition reports, we can do that. And what I'm talking about is putting stuff on the front page that may be important to you and may be important to your landlord, for example. So rather than maintenance required suggested improvements in our summary, you may want something in there like urgent maintenance, health and safety issues, current market appraisal, or tenant requests or tenant suggestions. So again, if you want to change the formats of your reports, get in touch with us and we can have a look at what can be done. We can bring in your colors, your corporate colors, and we can look at tweaking the actual design. There are some things that we can do. There are some things that we have to get close to. And there may be a small charge for changing the reports, but we don't charge like wounded bulls, but we can make something very unique to the way that you work. Okay? So what I'm saying to you here in a nutshell is there's more ways to produce different reports and customize reports than the standard that we put in there, and we can help create something that's special and individual for you. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shift over from that side of things, which is how we present the information, to how you can actually customize PIM in the app to suit the way that you work. So I'm just going to share the screen again. And I'm going to bring up my iPad. So just bear with me 1 second. And then this should change now over to my PIM. Okay, you should see a change happening now. Property Inspection Manager. Okay, so you should be able to see the full page of my app. I'm actually using my iPad today so that I've got a bigger screen on here, but it's the same whether you're using an iPhone or an iPad. With PIM, you've got on the bottom bar, you've got your inspections, which is where you carry out your inspections. And on the bottom right-hand side is settings. Settings is where you can start to customize the app to the way that you work. So if I go into settings, the first page on settings, I press PIM admin. And if I press PIM admin, I've got a list of different areas that I can go into and I can tweak the app. So what I usually look at first is the inspectors. And with inspectors, this is where you can set up multiple inspectors who use the device to do inspections. And you can add to this the customized reports that we've created for you. So the reason I'm showing you this screen is that there are multiple templates, which are Microsoft Word templates that we can put into your system. We can put one in for a routine inspection, which comes under the property inspection report template. Obviously, you've got your property condition report template, which will be specific to your state. We can produce a bond inspection report template, but for most Australian businesses, they tend to use the exit portion of the state RTA compliant form. But we can do a bond inspection report, which is like a consolidated list of rooms and things that need sorting out prior to exit. And then we've got these other two templates as well. The cleaning report template will extract the additional notes from your inspection and put them in a long list. I'll show you this again in a second when I go to do an inspection. But basically, you can use the cleaning report template to create a list of things to do, either for yourself or for somebody else in the office, or just as an aid memoir for later. I'll come back to it in a second. The final inspection template that we can do, if it suits the way that you work, is to create a tenant inspection report template. Now, some of our clients will send a report to both the landlord and to the tenant. But what we've been finding over the last probably 12 to 18 months is that an increasing number are using this tenant inspection template to send a truncated or a short report directly to the tenant after an inspection. And that can be just to advise that the inspection's been carried out. It could be to advise that the inspection's been carried out and they're a great tenant, thank you ever so much. Or it could be one that says, this is great, however, you need to clean this or you need to do this with some instructions. So if you're not currently using those additional templates of cleaning or tenant inspection report, and it suits the way that you want to work, get in touch with us and we can sort that out. Okay, I'm just going to go through the list of available options within the app here. So shorthand words and phrases. When you're out conducting an inspection, if you want to, you can obviously key in your inspection notes, which is probably my least preferred option. It takes the most time on my device. But you can also use Siri to capture voice to text, which is fine if you've got an internet signal. It's not so good if you don't have an internet signal because it won't work. But the other thing is that you might not want to use Siri if you've got a tenant present or it's a noisy area. So what we strongly recommend is build up a library of commonly used phrases that you can just drop into inspections. Now, quite a lot of people don't do it and they just leave it because it's maybe too hard for them. But what I'm going to just show you now is what they are and how they work and how you can set them up. So when you look at PIM and you open up the shorthand words and phrases bar, you'll see there are a number of pre-populated notes already in there. I think it's fair to say that these are really places and you may go, oh, that's useless for me, I'll never use it. But what you can do is you can actually delete these just by pressing the edit button and getting rid of stuff that doesn't make sense. But you can also go into each of these and you can edit them to whatever makes sense to you and the type of language that you use. Now, the way that you recall your shorthand words and phrases is either picking from a list or from using an abbreviation associated with it, or a combination of keying in and pressing the space bar. And I'll show you how that works in a second. But what I thought I'd do just now is just show you how you can set up your shorthand words and phrases. You can do it in settings, you can do it at the time that you're doing an inspection. In settings itself, if you want to create a new phrase, you just press the plus button in the top right-hand corner. You can use an abbreviation that will help you to remember that phrase. Now, it depends on how your brain works, but I was just thinking about this today, and I was thinking, I'm going to do this one for front gardens, so I'm going to put FG, and I'm going to put P, front garden poor. I'll be able to remember that. And then I'm going to put a phrase in here. The garden is not being well maintained. There are some dry patches on the lawn, which will need some additional work, and there is excessive weed distribution around the flower beds. Now, I'm absolutely positive that you'll never use that, but hey, that's what I can do. I can set up a phrase that I'm going to use frequently. What I can also do in here within PIM is I can assign that phrase to an area. So if I press assign to, I've got my list of inspection areas and I can choose to assign that to the front gardens, for example, and also the rear gardens. So that phrase can be recalled when I'm in a garden area, and I can filter through so that I can just create a number of options for those areas that I can select from so I can find them faster. I'm going to press done on there. I'm going to create another one. I'm going to create front, whoops, if I do it the right way, front garden good. Full word and abbreviation. The garden is being maintained to a very high standard, with all lawns looking very healthy, well cut, and all flower beds being well maintained. And I can assign that again to my front gardens. Press done. So you can start to build up phrases that you want to use, and you can assign them to areas so you can quickly build up consistent language and terminology that you might use. That's particularly useful for kitchens, for bathrooms, basically any areas that you want to, have a number of choices to drop in. Now, when I'm actually out at a property and I'm doing an inspection, so I'm just going to change my screen now. I can go into my inspection, I can go into front gardens, and to get back my shorthand words and phrases and bring them up, I've got to the right-hand side, little circles and crosses. I can press that and I can filter by relevance. So I can show all shorthand words and phrases, or I can filter by the area. And there you go at the bottom. I've got front garden good. I can drop it in. Alternatively, if I remember the FGG, I can press the space bar underneath. It appears above. I can touch it and drop it in. So a little bit of time in this area is actually quite handy, because you can build up those terms that you don't need to key. You can just drop them in. If you're actually out and about and doing some work on a property and you put something in that you think I'm going to use regularly, for example, looking at this property, the only thing that I can recommend is to put a bomb under the floorboards and set it off. It's an absolute disaster zone. What you can do is above your keyboard, if you look above the keyboard, there is a little icon here with a clipboard and a plus sign on it. If you press that, it says, do you want to save this to your shorthand words and phrases? Yes, I do. I can key in bomb and I can add it to all areas or whichever area I want to. And that just means now it's saved to my shorthand words and phrases. If I want to use it again, I can key in bomb, press the space bar, it appears above, I can touch it and drop it in. Or I can go into my plus and I can find it in there. Show all. And it is there. Looking at this property, I can drop it in. So definitely I would spend some time customizing shorthand words and phrases to save you time when you get to your inspection. Okay, so I'm just going to go back into settings again now. And the other thing that you can do underneath shorthand words and phrases is you've got inspection areas. So within inspection areas, you've got a long list of pre-populated, whether they're commercial, whether they're residential, but you've got all the areas that are pre-populated in the app, and associated with all the areas, if you press on one of them, you've got the opportunity to put in pre-populated notes and additional notes, and you've got associated sub-inspection areas. So I'm just going to go backwards one step here. What you can do within PIM is you can create whatever areas you need to add. So if you've got different types of rooms, say for example, I've got a workshop. I look through here and it's not in the list. I can always go into the top right-hand corner. I can add a workshop. And I can also add to that workshop a number of attributes or sub-inspection areas. So I can go into my sub-inspection areas. I can add things like roof. I can add walls. I can add workbench. Or a walk bench in this case, which is very good. So let me get rid of that. You get the idea. What I can also do with that is I can change the order of them. So if I go into that workshop, I can look at in the order of roof, walls, workbench, or I can put the workbench first, the walls next, and the roof last, and press done. So it can be saved in that order. Then when I look at the long list of my areas that are saved within PIM, I can put my workshop to where it may be used more relevantly, next to the pool, next to the storeroom. So essentially, within your list of inspection areas, you can choose to add whatever you want to, and you can be offline when you're doing an inspection. So if you go out to a property and you see something that's unusual, you can add it there and then it's saved to your database for future use. The other thing is that if you're going into your inspection area, say for example, I go into my entry exterior and you look at your sub-inspection areas, we do have those pre-populated, and you can change those as well. So I have seen a number of clients over the years add significant number of sub-inspection areas to their inspections, particularly for when they're doing a property condition report, and they may want to add a lot more detail into that inspection. The only thing I'd say is make sure that you don't go over the top, because I have had a couple of property management companies, particularly residential, that have put in 50 or 60 sub-inspection areas for a kitchen or a bathroom, and it just becomes absolutely soul destroying for whoever's doing that inspection. But again, you can add whatever you want to this. So in my list here for my entry, if I really wanted to, I could add something else like, I'm going to put letterbox in here. Done. And again, I can move those around and put them in the order that makes sense. So I'm going to put the letterbox next to the door. Being a typical POM, that's what I was going to do. Okay. Now, the other thing that you'll see, and not a lot of people use this at the moment, but it may be useful for you, is that you can add pre-populated notes into any inspection area and any sub-inspection area. So if you want to, you can put some pre-populated notes in here that will appear every time you do a new inspection. So the front door is painted red because all my properties in this block are painted red. And that will appear straight away. Not rat, red. Thank you very much. The other thing that you could do, and I've been chatting to a few clients recently, is if you want to embed a process so that everybody is given a little bit more instruction about what they're doing, the additional notes in an inspection area do not go into the report itself. They go into an additional list. So you could actually use the pre-populated additional notes as a bit of a prompt to what to look for or what to do. So you could even put in here, remember to make sure that all rubbish is removed from around the entry of the property. Check for anything that may be a health hazard and add them in there. So the other thing that you can do within PIM as well as rooms and setting up those rooms that you require, and also the sub-inspection areas that go with those rooms, is that the items that go onto the front page of the report, this is where you would add them in. So as I mentioned before, you've got maintenance required, you've got suggested improvements and our summary, which are the standard that go on the front page of our routine inspection. If you want to add additional areas in here that get pointed to certain parts of your report, this is where you would add them in. So those are things like tenant requests or health and safety issues that could go in there. Okay, so moving on from your inspection areas and shorthand words, the other area that I want to cover off now is this smart property profiles. So smart property profiles, we've changed the name of those. That used to just be property profiles. Usually they would be embedded or come with a large property and a small property. Because of the number of integrations that we're doing at the moment, we're starting to use the term smart property profiles, because if you can link the profile of the property within your property management system into PIM, it will set up those initial inspections with the relevant areas for, say, an apartment, or if you're doing commercial, a garage, or an industrial profile. So you can actually link profiles in your property management system to profiles within PIM. The other thing that you can do is you can create profiles for different types of reports. So what I'm seeing at the moment is you may want to have a profile for a property condition report, which includes certain areas and certain headings. You may want to have one as well for your routine inspection. And some of our clients now are just doing drive-by inspections, particularly in the commercial space, where they're looking at, does the property look well presented? Are the gardens being well maintained? Is there anything that we need to make the tenant aware of? and keeping it really, really simple. So within Smart Property Profiles, you can create whatever profiles make sense to you. So I've done a couple in here in addition. This is one I did yesterday, which was a weekly check for somebody. They literally, all they need to do is go into a property, have a chat with the resident in the property, and they just need to capture information on client recommendations, areas of concern, and our summary. For some of my commercial property clients, they're just doing something quite similar, which is external observations, areas of concern, and they just want to take some comments and some photos and ping those to somebody. So when you're setting up a new property profile, what you do is you use the plus sign in the top right-hand corner. You create that profile to be whatever suits you. So I might just make this one as a 2-bed unit. And then what I can do is go through the list of available rooms and I can create that profile. So if I go through this now, for my 2-bed unit, the one that I look after, it doesn't have any gardens, but I've got an entry, I've got a garage, a lounge, a passage, a bathroom, 2 bedrooms, an ensuite, kitchen, family, courtyard at the back, a laundry, and then I'm going to add to this my maintenance required, suggested improvements, and our summary. Done. So that's added to my list of smart profiles. So when I'm creating a new inspection, whether I'm importing data or whether I'm doing it from a manual inspection, I can choose to start off with all those areas associated with a 2-bedroom unit. So again, a little bit of time in this area can help you save some time down the line and customize what you're doing. Coming out of Smart Property Profiles, the other thing we've got in PIM that can be customized is the quick check labels. So if I go into quick check labels, you'll see that we've got 3 headings. There's the property inspection report, which is your routine or periodic inspection. There's your property condition report for your entries and exits, and there's the bond inspection report. If I just go into the property inspection report to start off with, we default all our quick check labels to clean and damage, working and maintenance. For routine inspections, what I've seen recently is quite a few of our clients don't want to use the quick checks. They either want to have one that's satisfactory, not satisfactory, or they want to use none and just use the written word to describe what's going on. And then the other thing that they might want to do is change the labels. So within PIM, if you want to change the labels for your routine inspections, this is where you would do it. If you don't want to use the quick check labels, or you want to reduce the number of them from the 4 that are already in there down to maybe 3 or 2, get in touch with support at propertyinspectionmanager.com and we can change that within the template for you. So if I want to change my headers for my routine inspection, this is where I do it. And I can change this here to satisfactory. I could then have tenant action, landlord action, and the final one I might put in here as health and safety issues. It's up to you, whatever works for you. So this is where you would do that. For most of the states, for their property condition reports, the clean and damage, working and maintenance labels will work. And we do for South Australia have a workaround in there as well. So chat to us about that if you require. Now, depending on where you're at in your cycle with Property Inspection Manager, if you've been using it for a while, or if you're new to Property Inspection Manager, one of the things that you can do, but probably better off in the early stages of using PIM, maybe when you're trialing or setting it up, is that you can share your settings from one device to other team members. Now, if you're sharing settings between a master device and other team members, and it's the first time that you're doing it, i.e. you're just setting up PIM, when you go into share settings, it gives you a couple of options. You can upload the settings from one device, and then on the other devices within the team, it says, hey, do you want to download this set of settings? And I'm just going to put this one in here, remote setup. And then it will say, okay, do you want to merge or do you want to restore all? If you go down this route of sharing your settings, please, whatever you do, do not press restore all, because it will delete all existing data off your PIM. Only do it if you're starting off and you've not done any previous inspections in there. If you press merge, it will merge your settings onto the other devices, and it will create those additional areas that you might have set up. So what I definitely recommend is, if you want to set up on one device within a team and share it to other team members, get in touch with support so we can help you through the process so that we don't make any mistakes in it, or you don't make any mistakes. But you do have that option if you've got multiple users within the team of being able to create a master set of settings that then can be sent out to the rest of your team members, which is a really useful tool. If you come down the list one step further, you've got email customization. If you want to, you can complete an inspection in PIM and you can send it directly from your device to somebody else. And what happens is it creates an email, and in that email, you've got some copy. So this is the area within PIM that you can customize your outgoing email template to suit the way that you chat to somebody. So for example, I've got here property inspection report. If I go into my property inspection report, I've got a number of different templates in here that have got pre-populated notes. If I want to send an email to the owner, these are the pre-existing notes, but you can actually go into here, you can change it and change it to whatever makes sense for you. Same for the tenant, oops, excuse me. And same if you're sending it back into the office. So you've got three options there. Same thing for all of your different inspection types. So if you're sending a property condition report directly to a tenant, you can change the copy within here and personalize it with your way of communicating. Same with your inspector notes down here for your tenant inspection note. You can change everything in here as well. So there's a lot of flexibility in the way that you can set up your inspections, present your information, but also how you communicate when you send it directly from the app. Now, I'm going to go back into an inspection in a second and show you how this works, just in case you're not currently using it and it might be useful for you. I won't go into the rest of these default settings for now, but what I would say is that if you want to use signatures within your templates, signatures are allowed within the templates, but you have to enable that within the app. So where it says allow signatures, if you click that on, you can insert a signature into the app, into the report. I've also put allow date time photos in there as well. So that puts a watermark on the photos within your report. Okay. Couple of final things. Routine inspections. In terms of the way that you operate, there's there's probably 2 or 3 different ways of people doing their inspections for routines at the moment that we're noticing. The majority of people will look at a property, they'll report on the maintenance required, suggested improvements, our summary, put that on the front page of the report. So you're basically capturing, I'm telling you, I've been to the property, these are things that you need to get sorted out, these are the things that you need to budget for, and here's some more information that you require. They then have behind it the list of rooms, any notes associated with the rooms, and the pictures that follow behind with the area in which they were taken, and any notes associated with those photos. What we're also seeing though are some people doing more detailed inspections. So for some people, they like to go into an area or a room and have a list of attributes that they're going to report against. So they may include sub-inspection areas in their routine or annual report or 6-monthly report. If you want to use your sub-inspection areas within a routine inspection report, at the bottom, you'll see in here, include sub-inspection areas. If you tick that on, it allows you to have those included in your report when you're completing your routine inspection. The final thing that I just wanted to show you in here, just in case you don't know it's around, is you do have an enable ICE function, which is in case of emergency. If you click that on, it's going to ask you, if you're in a situation that you feel uncomfortable with, you can press the button in PIM and it will send an email and it will send a text to a predefined email address and mobile number. So if you have that set up, which I'm just doing now, and press OK, and if you're out and about doing an inspection and something doesn't feel right, you can go into settings, first page of settings, and send ICE will come up. It will allow you to create a message, including a geolocational position. So it'll say, 220 Hampton Road, and I'm under duress. Please come and help me. So if you haven't set up that already, you do need an internet signal to be able to use the send ICE, but you can get it set up, and that's a really handy feature. Okay. Right, I'm just going to come back to my inspections page and just show you a couple of things in here. So here is a property that I've brought in. I'm just going to go into my report, and I'm just going to take a few photos and complete an inspection. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you is this tenant summary. So the tenant summary is if you want to send a report just to the tenant. So I'm just going to go into here now. I've got already embedded within my app my shorthand words and phrases. So I'm pressing that. I'm going to filter. I've got two options. Right. Thank you for allowing me through the property. There are a number of items noticed which require attention. So in here, I can add those items. Please could you remove the rubbish from the back veranda because it is definitely creating a health hazard and attracting rodents. And then I can take a photo of my rodent droppings, use the photo and add it. I'm going to send that to my tenant. I'm going to take a picture of the outside of the property. So quick shot. It's a very boring property. I might even use this today. Click, use photo. Done. Take another one. Click, use as a cover photo, use photo, done. And I'm just going to look at the bottom where I've got maintenance required. I'm going to put in my fence. Again, I'm just using an abbreviation to bring up my shorthand words and phrases, dropping it in. And I'm going to go to my summary. And I know that I've got an abbreviation that if I key in AOK, press the space bar, it says no problems with the property. And that's really good. So once I've done that, I go back to my home page. I go to my little action button. And in terms of my workflow, I can submit my inspection, which will send my completed inspection back to my property management system, if it's Property Me or Property Tree or Cirrus 8 or released. I'll just view that now. So I can see my report, and let me just reinforce that these report templates we can tweak for you and make cover pages, etc., or change these on the front. So I've got my completed report with the important headings or call outs on the front page. I've got the areas, any notes in those areas, the rooms, And then I've got my signature, which I'm just going to show you how to do now. So I'm going to go back into here. I've got my little dots in the top right-hand corner. I'm going to put an agent signature on this, Jeremy Ems, confirm. I'll just repeat that one again, and you'll see that the signature should go in there. View it now. So there you go. I've got my signature. I can also get a tenant signature in there if I want to. I'm going to submit my tenant inspection report. And what that does, if you've imported the tenant's details in, I'm just going to view that now. It will do a, dear Kate, thank you for allowing me through the property. You need to clean up the rubbish on the back veranda because it's creating a health hazard. And there's a photo behind showing those rodent droppings. And then the other thing that I can do is I can consolidate my additional notes by pressing the cleaning template. And that literally just creates a list of things that you might want to send to somebody else or remind you to do when you go back to the office. And those will be sent back to your email address and back to your property management system. However, if you want to send it directly from your app, you'll see that there's the little filing cabinet up here. And in the filing cabinet, it shows you the inspections that have been created once all the reports that have been created. So I can go to my tenant inspection report. I can press the 3 buttons on the right, press share report, and it will say, what do you want to do? Do you want to email the tenant the PDF? Yes, I do. And it will do a mail merge with the email address of the tenant, drop in the name. Thanks, Kate. Please could you have a look at this? I've just been around the property. It will add your report and you've got your signature from your mail app. So if you want to, you can send your report directly after you've done your inspection to that person. So that's really speeding up a process, but you can customize that process as well. So you've got your comments, the way that you work, your signatures, and stand out as a really good property manager. Same thing with your property inspection report. You can go into here, press share report. I want to email that to the owner. And if the owner's details in there, good old KP, hello Carl, please find your routine inspection report. It's sent straight away from the app. It blind copies you as well, so you know it's been sent. And as I mentioned to you before, all this copy can be customized in the app and to suit the way that you work. So I'm just going to delete that. Now, obviously I've sort of run through this pretty quickly, but I've shown you a few of the areas where you can customize your shorthand words and phrases, your inspection areas, your sub-inspection areas, your property profiles, and a few other things that you can do as well. Anything to do with the template, i.e. the physical Microsoft Word template, if you mark up a copy or look at the reports online through the Property Inspection Manager website, we have to make the changes within the templates to suit the way that you want those to be presented or to look. But anything within the settings you can do yourself. If you require any assistance at all, please just send us an email. Or the other option is, if you look at the PIM help desk on the bottom bar, if you open that up, you do have contact us. And if you press contact us, you can put in here, hey, can you get in touch with me? I want to change my settings, or I want to do some additional area work, inspection areas, or can you change some of my templates? Send that through and it can go to anybody within the team and we can help you out. The other thing is, if you go into the PIM help desk link up there, there's a lot of information on how to set up inspection areas, how to set up in sub-inspection areas, all of the bits and pieces that you can look at your leisure. The other thing is that this link from today, or this little session today, will be recorded, so you can have a whiz through it again later on. But definitely, if you want to ever get in touch with us, the best way to get a fast response is use the contact us within the app itself and just tell us what you need. So I think that's just about everything I wanted to go through today. If there's anything that didn't make sense, or if you just want to ask any more questions offline, ping it through in the chat and we'll get back to you. Or you can get in touch with me as well. And my email address is jeremy@propertyinspectionmanager.com. And thank you ever so much for being with me, and have a really good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks. Take care.